This is National Chess Master R. Rats, hitchess.com, continuing my video series of the correspondence team match played between my video lessons group and CARPE DIEM. This was played on board 139 of 210. Our man is Kullechhi, and we have a rating advantage of high 1600s versus high 1500s. And let's have a look at this game. Interesting way to meet the rear Lopez is basically this is the Steinitz defense. Okay, now there's a lot of moves here. You can take the pawn, or you can play bishop d7. Now you play bishop d7, and now I think white makes a good move here, queen e2, basically saying, hey, if you want to take my bishop, you're going to develop my queen, and that's good. When you back up your pieces, reinforce your pieces with other pieces. If they get captured, your new piece comes into play. This is how you do it. Now, I think that black's break is to eventually play for f5 because you want to attack in the direction your pawn chain points. Okay, I think maybe black didn't quite understand that concept. I'm not sure c6 is the right way, but it works out. I would take back with the pawn just to gain time on the bishop, but anyway, he doesn't. Now black and white both need to get castled. Now here's one of these moves that I've been seeing so many times in this video series. These people are pushing their rook pawns up. This is a wasted move. In a Lopez, you only do it when you want to play d4. Well, d4 is out of the question. Your d pawn has been traded. Okay, even if white or black pins this knight, okay, even if he manages to pin this knight, you can't back it up with anything. Again, you can't get a knight into d4. This just wastes a move, and it's going to weaken the white king side, and it's going to cost him in a little bit. White has a plan. We'll see it here in a little bit for playing h3, but it's just bad move. Okay, don't push your rook pawns. Okay, wait until you're completely developed, and if you have an idea if you want to clear that square, which is what white will do here in a minute, then okay, fine. But get your development complete first. See, white could have had this bishop out already, be ready to play this knight, and had this thing safely back here where it belonged. So white plays knight h2. Now, logically, maybe what he's trying to play is g4. Maybe, I don't know. You could do that without that, or maybe he's trying to play knight g4, and then ideas maybe putting it on e3 where it can hop into two other squares. But it turns out the reason he wants the knight on h2 is because he wants to play he's going to play f4, and he'll play it here in just a moment. But if you want to play f4, and I'm not saying it's a bad choice, why spend an extra move getting the knight here when the knight can just go back to e1? Okay, that's my point here. Why spend an extra tempo, and why weaken yourself? And that weakness is going to cost him here in a little bit. We'll see. Okay, so now black, I think, is fully equalized. Black's only undeveloped piece is this rook here on a8, where white has a whole bunch of undeveloped pieces. White's activity in the center has been countered by black's activity in the center. And when position opens up, what side stands better? Well, the one that is better developed, because when the lines open up, they're going to seize those squares. And that's exactly what happens. White's intended kingside attack never materializes, and black is the one that gets it. And we can owe part of the problem to this h3 move. Okay, it cost a tempo. The knight could have done it on e1 and had another piece in the game. Okay, end of rant. Okay, so now f5, and now all of a sudden black starts getting some possible tactics. The threat is to push e4 and grab this knight with check. Wait, I hit the wrong button. There we go. Now knight d2. And I think he could play e4 at any time, but it's a kind of position that black's got his happy choices. He can play a lot of good moves, and knight e4 is perfectly good, or knight f4 rather. And now white plays queen e4. He's got delusions of playing f6 and administrating a mate. However, that's going to cost him his light squared bishop, and bingo, there comes the move I was suggesting, e4. And now the weakness, the weakness of the h3 move is partially apparent. Uh, White put a knight there where it didn't belong. It never moved again. It actually got captured on that square, and as a result, black penetrated into the position, and his kingside pawns are still weak. On top of that, okay, we'll see what happens here. Gets out of check. Now activate the knight. Now here I think black slightly misfired. Probably should have been getting this bishop out of there. Now it could get stuck. And with proper play, white could have won it. And I think the correct move is queen f4. And black is going to have to jettison this, but black is still for choice. Black will have to jettison this bishop at some point, because this bishop is going to get active on this diagonal. The rooks are coming into play. The knight is aggressively posted. I think black stands much better, but had white been paying attention, he could have won his piece back. But I like black's chances here. So, like for instance, queen here. I think you're going to have to lose this piece. Let's lose it now. Don't want to take the queen. Take the bishop. Let's see. If you trade queens, here I'm talking about, you get this bishop into play. And here come the rooks. Now b3, I can just park this knight here. I can park it on d2. Oh no, not on d2. I'm not guarding that square. I like black a lot here, even though white's regained his piece. And I'm sure there's probably better moves in there, and that's for you guys that are analyzing these games to sit and think about, because there's just too many complications. But let's see what happens. I mean, too many variations, not complications. Complications are welcome in correspondence chess because you have time to research them and solve them all. And queen f2 comes in, and now there's the pin on the knight, and now he does get the piece back, but white in turn gets his piece back. So, or black gets his piece back. So black's a piece up again. White missed his chance, and now the king's on h2 because the pawn isn't there anymore. But now this g pawn is pinned and it's guarded by a king. So playing h3 just ends up weakening your pawn structure. And the pawns are weaker on the third rank than they are on the second rank. More threats, planning to take on b2. Black offering a queen trade, and he misses it. There goes the pawn. Queens come off, and now it's pretty much just routine for black. I'm going to kind of go through it kind of quickly because there's really not much to this game anymore. Black just keeps his pieces safe and remains a piece up, and there's nothing white can do about it. And hey, you want to trade some more? Okay. And now forking the rook and the h pawn, and this just walks into a new fork, and white decided to give up. So let's come back here to h3 was just not smart. Okay, these moves do not help you. Okay, let's castle instead, and we'll play the same moves that black did. Okay, but now you don't have to stop and play knight h2 here. You have time to develop a bishop. Okay. Now let's see. Next step. And notice this bishop is keeping the white queen or black queen out of b6. Okay. Now if white wants to play knight e1, although I really recommend knight bd2 first, he can. He's got no weakness in his pawn structure, and he's ready for the f4 that he's been craving. Well, actually, no, you're not ready for it here. This pawn is... I've unprotected this pawn for a move or two. Yeah, I missed these one movers. Okay, let's put the bishop here. Castle. And I'm just going to go ahead and do this. You know, black can come here. Who cares? But if white wants to play for f4, it's much easier here, and he's got these pieces out, which he didn't in his continuation. So, you know, it's a huge mistake to start your operations before you finish your development. Okay, but I see it all the time. Trying to educate you guys. Okay, help you out, play a better game. Okay, let's look at their other game, and here. I was kind of surprised by this. Our man should have lost this game. Now d4 is just plain out bad. He's giving up a free pawn. If I don't win this game with black, I'm really going to be disappointed if I'm playing an equal or even somebody 100 or 200 points higher than me. Okay, a pawn up. All you have is a little bit of development, not enough. Okay, you need 3 tempos for a pawn, and white never comes close to this. And black just continues his development. There's really not much quite to this game yet. But black definitely should have won this, but it's going to end up a draw. I'm giving it away. Now black has the bishop pair. I mean, I'm even happier now if I'm black. I know I'm winning this game. And what does black do wrong? Well, we'll see here in a little bit. Okay. Now white helps black out. Gee, let's trade down to an ending that you're going to win. White's still down a pawn. He has nothing to show for it. Okay. A little pressure to stop you from castling, but that's okay. And a little more pressure, but no big deal. And it's at this point that black misses his win. Okay. What black plays is rook AF8. Now he's going to get 2 pieces for the rook, but he's doing it the wrong way. Just take this thing right now. Okay. Now white has no choice but to take this. Now save your king. We're going to save it here. Keep an eye on e6. Okay. If you don't take that rook, you're going to lose. So you got to take this rook. Now how do I want to take back? Bishop, rook. I'll just take with the bishop. Now let's take a quick stock of this. White has 6 pawns, black has 6 pawns, but black has 2 pieces for the rook. It's a decisive advantage. The 2 pieces will outduel the rook. They'll eventually create a pass pawn, probably win a pawn, create a pass pawn, start advancing that pass pawn, and black's going to have to give up, or white's going to have to give up material to stop it. Completely winning position for black right here. Okay, and there's nothing white can do about it. He's toast. Okay, but for whatever reason, and I can't answer, I don't know how quick they moved, black didn't play the obvious move. He defended this pawn. And the drawback with this is the c6 pawn is going to fall. That's the fly in the ointment. See, black is still counting on getting 2 pieces for the rook, but he dropped this pawn. And that rook becomes active. And now black only has 5 pawns instead of 6. Now it should still be in black's favor, but it's not as easy as before, especially because white has a pair of pretty active rooks, and that pawn on a6 looks pretty weak. If these black pawns start falling, black can't win. Black can only fight for a draw, and it seems like for the rest of the way, black is fighting for the draw. And he eschews taking the pawn on a6 to go after that one. Should white try or black try for a pat? No, you're on the knight. Okay, sorry, duh. Okay. And black had a threat here. Black was threatening knight f3 check. Okay, so now a little fork. There goes another pawn. Now white has 6 pawns to 3. Black's going to get one back here and be ready to take another, but black is running out of pawns. Okay, the only chance black has to win is to win this pawn and get this thing running, but he doesn't have enough. He just doesn't have enough going. And even though he won the pawn, white's doing fine. And now white makes some trades, gets rid of black's last dangerous pawn, because the c3 pawn will fall here, we'll see. Now the knight's under attack. He can't hold the c pawn. And the only way black's going to win this now is if white blunders into a knight fork or a skewer, and that probably is not going to happen. And the game just goes on a few more moves, and eventually black is able to capture that pawn, and they decide to call it a draw. But black should have won the game, and I showed how. So, interesting two games. I thank you both for playing, and I thank everyone for watching. I'm doing the best I can to catch up on these games, but eventually I will. And if you're waiting for a game, it'll get, waiting for games to be covered, it's going to come. You're just going to have to wait. I'm taking them in the order I collect them, and right now I have about between 10 and a dozen to go, but I'll get there. Thanks so much.